You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 47. Kenzei delivers a fake letter. Pang Tong cons Chow Chow into linking his ships. Now this Kenzei is from a poor family, but he loved to study, and in return for doing chores he was allowed by wealthy families to borrow books. He only needs to read a book once and he can remember it all. And he is famous for his eloquence. He is also a man of rare courage. So it is that he agrees to carry the letter, and Huang Gai has it prepared and hands it to him. That night, disguised as a fisherman, he ferries himself across the river, where, upon landing, he is immediately arrested, and news of his capture and his letter is brought to Chow Chow. To be honest, Chow Chow is sure he is a plant, a spy, but he agrees to meet him. You claim you are Kenzei, says Chow Chow, yet you have come here. Why? Poor Huang Gai, cries Kenzei, you have made another mistake. You, sir, are supposed to be magnanimous and searching for men of true courage and virtue. But your question shows this is not the case. Poor Huang Gai. You have made the same mistake again. I am fighting Sun Quan, replies Chow Chow, and suddenly you turn up. That is why I have to ask why. Then Kenzei tells the story of the humiliation and beating of Huang Gai. This is why I bear a letter to you from him, says Kenzei. Give me this letter, demands Chow Chow. In the letter Chow Chow reads of Huang Gai's service and loyalty to the Sun family for many years. But now he can see that their time is up. Everyone, he claims, at the top of the army can see that resistance to the Great Northern Army is foolish except for that idiot Zhou Yu. He has such an exaggerated sense of his own importance he thinks he can smash a stone with an egg. In his arrogant foolishness he has punished the faultless and disregarded those worthy of promotion. I, Huang, have been humiliated and, knowing that you wish to have men of excellence, I have decided to come over to you with all my men. Chow Chow studies the letter over and then suddenly flares up. This is the old trick of a flogging followed by an apparent desertion, he cries, and he orders the execution of Kenzei. As he is about to be dragged away to be killed, Kenzei suddenly laughs. Surprised by this, Chow Chow orders him brought back. I know what you are up to, so why are you laughing? I am not laughing at you, replies Kenzei, but at poor Huang Gai, who thinks he understands men. Just get on with the execution, will you, please, and stop asking questions. You can't fool me, replies Chow Chow. I have studied the books of warfare, and know this old trick when I see it. What trick? Asks Kenzei. Where in this letter do you find this trick? Show me. Huang Gai doesn't say a date or time when he will desert. If he was really wanting to come over he would have set a time. You claim to know the books of war, says Kenzei, but really you know nothing. Don't you know the old saying that there is no set time for betraying your lord? What if he had said a day and time, but for unforeseen circumstances was unable to be there on time? Then the whole venture might collapse. You can't fix a time to slip away. Really, you are a fool. This all makes Chow Chow stop and reflect. I'm sorry, he says. You see, both Huang Gai and I want to come over to you, says Kenzei confidently. It is at this point that a messenger comes in and whispers in Chow Chow's ear. It is clear to Kenzei that this must be the report from Chow Chow's two spies, the Kais, that will confirm Huang's letter. And so it is, finally convincing Chow Chow of the sincerity of Huang's letter. However, somewhat to Kenzei's consternation, Chow Chow asks him to return to the south in order to finalize the practical arrangements for Huang Gai's desertion. Reluctantly he agrees and sails back down the river. He informs Huang Gai of his success thus far, and then goes to see Gan Ning in order to find out what the two Kais are up to. Arriving at Gan Ning's tent, Kenzei says, I was appalled to see how you were insulted yesterday by Zhou Yu simply because you wanted to protect Huang Gai. Gan Ning smiles but says nothing, and almost immediately the two Kais enter. Kenzei flicks a look at Gan Ning, who catches the significance of this, and explodes with righteous anger, saying, Zhou Yu's far too cocky, and has no regard for others. He humiliated me, disgraced me in front of my peers. And with that he grits his teeth, smashes his fist down on the table, and roars with fury. In an apparent act of co-conspiracy, Kinzei bends down and whispers in Gan Ning's ear. Sensing momentous events are afoot, the two Kais ask, "General, what's so upset you? And you, sir, what's this insult you have suffered?" "You cannot even guess how bitter we are," says Kinzei, to which Kai He responds, "Is it possible you want to leave Sun Quan and come over to Cao Cao?" Hearing this, Kinzei visibly pales, and Gan Ning rises up, draws his sword, and in feigned horror shouts, "We're discovered. We must kill them, or we'll be betrayed." Greatly alarmed, the two Kais rapidly reassure them, saying, "There's nothing to fear here. In fact, we have something to tell you." Gan Ning looks at them sternly and asks, "Well, what is it?" To which Kai He confesses that they are in fact spies sent by Cao Cao, and that if they would like to come over to his side they would be only too happy to make the arrangements. "Is this true?" asks Gan Ning, to which the Kais reply, "Are we likely to invent something like this?" "Heaven has indeed sent you," says an apparently grateful Gan Ning. To this the Kais reply that the plight of both Huang Gai and Gan Ning has already been communicated to Cao Cao. Kinzei tells how he has delivered a letter of surrender to Cao Cao from Huang Gai, and that he is here today to try to persuade Gan Ning to desert as well. The con is completed by Gan Ning proclaiming, "If a man of decisive action meets a truly wise lord he should offer himself to him without hesitation." Greatly encouraged by this, the four of them drink to the success of their decisions. Immediately afterwards the two Kais write to Cao Cao to tell him of this great news, while Kinzei also writes secretly to Cao Cao, saying that Huang Gai will now desert, and that he will sail across in a boat with a green flag in its prow. However, despite the two letters which corroborate each other, Cao Cao is still not convinced this isn't a trick. So he decides to send a spy into the enemy camp. At the request for a volunteer, it is once again Jiang Gan who offers, saying that he is still embarrassed by his first attempt and consequent failure to lure Zhou Yu to join Cao Cao. Zhou Yu is delighted when news comes of Jiang Gan's return, as he realizes he is about to fool Cao Cao once again. As part of his plan he calls for Pang Tong to come and attend him. Now Pang Tong, also known as Master Young Phoenix, is himself an exile from the north and its troubles. Known as a strategist, he has already offered advice to Lu Su, who has shared this with Zhou Yu. Pang Tong has advocated the use of fire, but has also pointed out that if each ship is independent of the others then the moment a fire starts on one ship the others will simply slip away. The answer is to get them all tied together, then success will be assured. Zhou Yu orders Jiang Gan brought to him, but Jiang is troubled that Zhou doesn't come down to meet him. So he hides his boat in a quiet location on the river, ready for a swift getaway. When Jiang Gan comes before Zhou Yu, Zhou pretends to be very angry indeed, and reprimands him for his treachery the last time he came to visit. The theft of the letter has, claims Zhou, been a disaster for his plans because Kai Mao and Zhang Yun have been executed. To show him that as a result their friendship is over, he sends Jiang off to stay at the Western Hills Monastery as his guest until he has defeated Cao Cao. Jiang Gan thus finds himself in a lonely, rather rundown setting, and he becomes quite depressed. When darkness comes, he wanders out to look at the stars, and as he walks he hears in the distance someone reciting from a book. Drawing near, he sees a man reading by lamplight, and to his astonishment he sees that the book is Sun Zi's Art of War. Introducing himself, he discovers that this man is called Pang Tong, whom Jiang has heard of as Master Young Phoenix and whom he has wanted to meet for a long time. "But why are you stuck out here?" asks Jiang, to which Pang Tong replies, "Zhou Yu is so full of himself he thinks there is no need for anyone else with skills, so I have retreated out here." "And who exactly are you?" "I am Jiang Gan." And the two men fall into conversation, during which Jiang Gan, spotting a great opportunity, says, "Your skills will win fame wherever you go, so why not come and serve Cao Cao? It would be my honor to introduce you." "Oh, you've no idea," says Pang Tong, "how I've longed to escape from here. But we must move swiftly, before Zhou Yu finds out." And so they set off straight away, climb into Zhang's hidden boat, swiftly cross the river, and arrive at Cao Cao's camp. Cao Cao is delighted to hear that Master Young Phoenix has come, and soon they are talking away. That stripling Zhou Yu, says Cao Cao, is a fool to disregard his own staff and their talents. I've heard about you for so long, and am delighted you have come to join us. I would very much appreciate your advice. Well, says Pang Tong, I've heard so many times that you're a master of military affairs, so I would very much like to see how you order your forces. And so off they go on a grand tour of the layout and disposal of Cao Cao's forces. At every place, Pang Tong praises Cao Cao's strategic thinking, and Cao Cao preens himself hearing such praise. Returning to Cao Cao's camp, the two men continue their conversation, but Cao Cao is suddenly caught unawares when Pang Tong says, I hope you have lots of doctors. Needless to say, Cao Cao is intrigued but also confused to hear this. In fact, there has been an outbreak of illness among his men, and this has worried him. The problem is, says Pang Tong, that your men on the boats are at risk, but there's a way of preventing this. Cao Cao, of course, wants to know what that could be, so Pang Tong tells him. It's all down to how you've set up your naval depots. The river is a turbulent one, and this constant movement is making your landlubber men sick. Now, if you were to tie up your various ships in groups of, say, between 30 and 50 and link them with broad walkways, then this would stabilize them and keep them still even in a storm. Cao Cao leaps up with delight and thanks Pang Tong. Within hours, the blacksmiths are ordered to create huge chains and fixtures to link the ships together. Pang Tong, meanwhile, offers to go back to the south to try to persuade more men to come over. But before he leaves Cao Cao, he asks him to write an order of protection for his family, and to be magnanimous when he crosses the river, and spare the ordinary people. I fulfill the will of heaven, says Cao Cao, so the people will not be harmed. And so saying, he presents Pang Tong with a decree promising protection to his family in the case of attack. Having taken his leave, Pang Tong goes down to the river to sail across to the south, when suddenly he is grabbed from behind. Turning, he sees a man in a Taoist robe with a bamboo hat, who says, You're brave, aren't you? Huang Gai plays the old torture trick, while Kanzai plays the old letter of submission trick. Now you have added to this by suggesting the disastrous plan of chaining the ships together in order that fire can leap from ship to ship. You may have fooled Cao Cao, but you don't fool me. Pang Tong is so terrified his 3 souls flee, and his 7 spirits desert him. So who is this speaker? Who indeed?